Hey, today we're going to talk about 3.3 Survivorship Curves. So before we begin, you can check out the Enduring Understanding, look at the learning objective, and pause the video as you review the essential knowledge and set up your Cornell notes. So this is a very short and sweet presentation. The survivorship curves are based on parental care. Now, typically, organisms that are case-selected species, like chimpanzees, wolves, most larger mammals, are going to have a type 1 survivorship curve. Organisms that are R-selected species, like zebra mussels, fish, certain insects, are going to have a type 3 survivorship curve. Now, what does this mean? Well, organisms that are case strategists basically take care of their offspring and prevent their offspring from being eaten. They care for their offspring, so their offspring have a really good chance of surviving to adulthood. Also, since case strategists have very few offspring, they want to make sure that the very few offspring they have are surviving until adulthood. So the type 1 survivorship curve basically means this is the percentage of maximum lifespan. And what does that really mean? It's just a fancy way of saying time. Because a zebra mussel and a chimpanzee don't live for the same amount of years, so you can't just write time here. But this is at birth, and down here is at death. That's what it means. Number of survivors, this is 100% survivors, this is 0% survivors. Okay, so at birth, for example, a chimpanzee takes care of their babies. Their babies live. In fact, their babies live to adulthood. They get to a ripe old age and then they start to die. Same thing with humans. You don't hear, there is children that do die. There are infants that die. People do die, throughout their lives in different times, but typically the life expectancy of humans is around 80 years. So a lot of humans live to about 80 and then they start dying off. Now if somebody dies at 40, 25, you might be a little bit shocked, like what happened to them? Were they sick? But when somebody dies at 85, you're like, okay, they lived a great life. They have a type 1 survivorship curve. Now with organisms like zebra mussels, with certain fish, zebra mussels, the whole goal is to produce lots and lots of offspring because most of them are going to die right away. So upon being born, the zebra mussels, a lot of their eggs are eaten by predators. Most of them will die, but the few that do survive will make it to a ripe old age. Another thing you could think about is when you see little sea turtles on the shore, and when the parent, the female sea turtle, will go up onto shore, dig a little nest in the sand, lay the eggs, and then she goes back into the ocean and she never comes back and looks at them. Now when the baby turtles are hatching and they're making their way back to the ocean, you have a lot of seagulls and different birds that are trying to snatch them up and eat them. So the sea turtles, most of them are going to die. The ones that make it into the ocean might get eaten by fish. But the ones that do survive, the few that survive are going to make it to a ripe old age and die very old. So again, R-selected species tend to have type 3 survivorship curves. K-selected species tend to have type 1. Now you also have some that are type 2, and this is typically going to be birds. And really I've seen birds for this example. Birds, regardless of their age, they will die at a steady rate. So they don't live to be super old and then die, or don't die really young and then live to be old. They literally are dropping off, at random times, pretty steadily throughout their lives. So for your FRQ practice, what I would like you to do is, based on this graph, describe the trend in survivorship and justify the curve the data represents. Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for your attention. I hope that this was informative. And I will see you soon. Thank you.